Hello, good morning all. This is Gaurav Pingle, Company Secretary from Pune. Thank you for inviting me as a resource person for the lecture at the 10 days faculty development program on the scenario of commerce, management and economics education after COVID-19. The program is organized in association with the Faculty Development Center, UGC, HRDC, SPPU Pune and KTHM College Nasik. So I thank the college and I thank the organizers for inviting me as a resource person. I thank CMA Maithili Malpure and Dr. Vasant sir for inviting me and for the coordination. The topic for my presentation is impact of COVID-19 on company law compliances. I am sure that the session will help the aspirants, researchers and delegates to shape their career and resolve all doubts regarding the impact of COVID-19 on this particular topic. I feel the topic that the organizers have selected is a very apt topic for all the commerce professionals or all the commerce or anybody who is associated with commerce. I also feel that this topic is not just associated with commerce college or a commerce student, but this topic will also be relevant for business entrepreneurs and business owners because ultimately commerce is nothing but being associated with the entrepreneurs and the business community. So this topic has not just a very limited audience, but it has got a very wider audience. So I really appreciate the initiative of the college at Nasik and the ministry in taking ahead this particular topic. Now, before we start with the impact of the company law compliances, let me discuss something about the company law so that it becomes very comfortable for all the participants and everybody is at par in understanding this particular topic. So let us see what is basically a company. So company is a artificial legal entity that has been created obviously by a statute, which is the Companies Act. And then in the company we have got two set of authorities. One is the directors of the company, second is the shareholders of the company. The directors of the company are in charge of the day-to-day management of affairs of the company. Directors are further divided into non-executive director and executive director. So just for the purpose of example, it will be like a full-time faculty and a part-time faculty. Full-time faculty will be associated with the college for you can say 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever is the timing. And a part-time faculty will be there only for a particular subject. Similarly, in a company, we have got an executive director and a non-executive director. And in case of shareholders are the owners of the company. So when you say they are the owners of the company, they don't means they invest money in the company, but against the investment they get the shares of the company. Generally, the shares are like the equity shares. So their ownership is represented by shares. So for example, if I have invested 10,000 rupees in a company, say take an example of Tata Steel that I have invested, then I may get some few shares of Tata Steel Limited. Taking an example that the shares of Tata Steel are 10 rupees each, I will get 1000 shares of the company. So this is how the ownership structure is there. Now there are certain decisions that the board of directors can take. There are certain decisions that the shareholders can take. And there are certain provisions in the Companies Act where the company can take. So when there is a reference that a company can take a decision, generally it is the shareholders who take the decision. Okay. Now, when it comes to taking decisions, there are certain meetings that are to be conducted, or there are ways in which you can take the approval. Generally, there is a provision under the Companies Act that the meeting of a company should be held once in 3 months, and in case of shareholders, it should be conducted once in a year. Now, what will be discussed in once in 3 months? It will be nothing but you can say the business operations of the company, any development that takes place in the company, any prospective client that the company proposes to pitch, or it could be a new venture that the company proposes, a new project that the company has. So there are certain points or there are certain discussion points which the company may discuss. This is one aspect in case of board meetings. When we come to the shareholders meeting, the shareholders meeting will be, firstly we will have a, you can say, a yearly meeting. That yearly meeting is called as the annual general meeting of the company. Annual general meeting of the company, in that meeting, first what the shareholders do is that they approve the or they adopt the financial statements of the company, and such adoption, there is a prescribed way in which that they can be adopted. Then the company may declare dividend, the company may appoint an auditor, or the company may appoint the directors. These are, you can say, generally the points that the company may consider. Other than that, obviously a company will have a, you can say, the memorandum of association. So if at all they want to amend, they can decide it in the annual general meeting. Then the company may have articles of association. Even for that, there could be a shareholders meeting to approve the change. So there are quite a few resolutions which require, or there are quite a few transactions in a company that require the approval of the shareholders. There are quite a few where shareholders are not involved. For example, a company wants to make a investment in fixed deposit. Now this decision is to be taken by the directors. Like, to give you an example in this particular aspect about the structure of a company, to further simplify it, in case of a company, in case of a trust, you have trustees and you have got beneficiaries. You will not go to the beneficiaries on a regular basis, because beneficiaries are, if at all there is going to be a change in the trust structure, the object is going to change, and there are quite a few changes which are proposed, then only you will go to the trustee, you will go to the beneficiaries. In the remaining cases where there are day-to-day decisions to be taken, or you can say another area is to be rented out, another area is to be bought. So these are day-to-day transactions or day-to-day affairs which can be taken care by the board of directors. Similarly, the same case is there in case of societies. Anyways, taking the discussion forward, in my view, these are very important meetings for any company secretary or any person who is associated with the commerce, you can say the commerce faculty or the stream of commerce. Because what is the importance of the meeting is that the decisions are taken, and at that point of time there is a necessary or there is a requirement that the notice of the meeting should be adequately given, the venue should be there, the quorum should be there, you can say the necessary resolutions are appropriately passed, voting is done for certain transactions. So there is a lot of things. After the meeting is over, the minutes of the meeting should be prepared, the minutes of the meeting should be signed. If at all it is a meeting like a video conferencing meeting, then the same should be recorded. So there are many aspects about a particular meeting and the decisions. Now the reason that I am discussing all this is because there are quite a few things that have drastically changed for a board meeting and the shareholders meeting in the COVID-19 situation. Therefore, I am just trying to create a background so that the participants are fully conversant, or you can say broadly conversant, when will the shareholders so the participants will be fully conversant about when and how the resolutions will be passed and how the resolutions will be passed. Okay, so now in the COVID-19 scenario, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has issued quite a few circulars. As far as I understand, there are 5 to 6 circulars that the ministry has issued. Now I am speaking specifically about the general meeting or a board meeting. In those circulars, basically, in the first case, in case of board meetings, there are certain restricted items which cannot be transacted by a board meeting through video conferencing. That means it will require a meeting in person. Now, when it says a meeting in person, due to this COVID-19 situation, considering the fact that there are uh, guidelines and orders issued by the MHA, because of which we cannot have a group of people sitting together considering the present situation. Therefore, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has issued a circular saying that you can conduct a board meeting for approving the financial statements, for signing the financial statements, and quite a few things which will require which where certain items are to be restricted. When I say restricted, as per the Act, there are 4 items or 4 business transactions which cannot be discussed in a board meeting through video conferencing. But the government has relaxed these provisions. This is one very important aspect. So all board meetings of biggest companies and the smallest companies in India are being conducted through the board meeting through video conferencing. Now, is it compulsory to conduct a board meeting through video conferencing? Answer is no. Because if there are all family members, there are people who are residing in the same building, then by taking all necessary precautions issued by the MCA, they can have a board meeting at a residence also. There is no restriction. They can have an in-person meeting. But if, for example, if a person is in the red zone or you can say a green zone and a containment area and all, then it would be difficult for the company to conduct the meeting. There are, you can say, the directors of the company are in different cities or different states or different countries, then such meeting would be difficult. Therefore, in my view, this is a very important relaxation given by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs for the board meetings. I feel that this, considering the present situation and certain, you can say, the uncertain future ahead, I feel that it would be desirable if the ministry issues a circular or a notification and provides a, you can say a complete liberty to the company to conduct board meetings through video conferencing for all purpose, so that the advantages are that there is no cost of travel, there is no investment of time in a particular activity. We develop our efficiencies a lot. Like, just take an example of today's session. Like, I had just prepared for today's session half an hour before this present recording. So that is the way in which probably the efficiency works. If at all I have to actually come to Nasik, then I have to wake up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., get ready, drive to Nasik, reach the location, and then the session will be for 1 hour, 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours. Then have lunch and then again come back to Pune. So, considering this, it is a good way in which the board meetings can be conducted. Now, there are some advantages which we just discussed. But one more advantage for such kind of meeting is that the company can save a lot of cost on conducting such meetings. Company can invest in technology. Company can maybe buy a particular software for the board meetings that are to be conducted, and in that way the company can conduct the board meetings through video conference. This is one. What is the disadvantage of that? It could be there is a dispute between certain directors, and or there is a probable dispute, means there is some miscommunication, because miscommunication is the heart of any dispute. So in this particular case, there is a miscommunication, there is a misunderstanding, and therefore the director of the company want to conduct a board meeting in person, so that whatever is the misunderstanding, that can be resolved in a much efficient manner. This is one. So that is one of the disadvantage. Second disadvantage is the technical issue. Just take today's example. Suppose if there is no internet, there is no electricity, and suddenly while I am recording, then probably we may not have a session, in the way that we desired. Therefore, there could be some technical issues. Probably in the board meeting through video conferencing, certain directors may also be affected if at all they are not able to reach properly to the audience, because it is a very well known fact that we are very much accustomed to one teaching or one to one communication, and this electronic and the laptop communication or mobile communication is now getting a bit difficult for certain people, especially professors and teachers and other persons who are involved. So there are some technical challenges. Anyways, so this is about the board meeting. Now we come to the shareholders meeting. Now, shareholders meeting, to give you an example of Reliance Industries, it has got around 20 lakh or 15 lakh shareholders. If you take an example of Infosys, the shareholders are in lakhs. You take an example of TCS, the shareholders are in lakhs. If you take an example of HCL Infotech, or you can say State Bank of India, or you can say any kind of a big company, the shareholders are huge, and therefore having shareholders meeting for so many number of people in the present situation is not possible, obviously, because of the MHA guideline and the COVID-19 situation, and practically everybody is having their own battle. It could be a battle of work, it could be a battle of survival, it could be a battle of some illness, it could be a battle of COVID-19 itself, it could be some financial battle, it could be a business battle. So everybody is having their own battle to fight in the present scenario. So what the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, for the convenience of shareholders, they have come out with a circular. They have come out with quite a few circulars and clarified that presently there is no provision under the Companies Act for conducting the meetings through video conferencing. However, considering the present situation, the meetings can be meetings of the shareholders. Just imagine lakhs of shareholders can be conducted through video conferencing. So the advantage is that if I am holding the shares of Infosys Limited, then practically for quite a few years, or maybe from the time when I am holding the shares of Infosys, I have never visited Infosys to understand what Infosys is doing, what is the management saying, what are their views. But now, because of this technological development and the COVID-19 situation, I will be able to directly connect to the management of the Infosys. I for last 10 years, if at all I am holding shares of Infosys, I always had some queries about Infosys. That what is Infosys doing? What about the dividend? What about the disclosures? What about the transparency? So I had certain queries. Now, if at all I am there, if I'm an active shareholder or I want to be an active shareholder, I can ask all the questions which are there for the Infosys management to answer. Like in the very recent TCS annual general meeting, there were quite a few people who asked about foreign exchange fluctuations, the H1B visa, the software impact of COVID-19 on software industry, then what about foreign exchange fluctuations, then what about work from home policy, what about the security, whether TCS is going to bear the cost of the buildings, what about the rent that the TCS is paying, what about the employee cost. So there are quite a few things which the shareholders have always got an opportunity to ask the management of the company, and therefore the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has said that shareholders meeting, whether annual general meeting or an extraordinary general meeting, can be conducted electronically, that is through video conferencing or audio visual means. Now there could be some technical challenges, but that apart, in my view, this is a very apt decision at a very apt time, and it couldn't it means there is nothing that is not beneficial for the company. There is everything that is beneficial for the company, and there are quite a few companies who have already started conducting their meeting through video conferencing. Sorry, actually, I'm a bit not well. There is some throat problem, so I have to drink water, hot water, or something like that. There is nothing to do with the COVID-19 situation. I'm perfectly fine. It's just that there is some, you can say, due to constant lectures, there is some, uh, you can say, some throat related problem. Anyways, so that is what is there about the shareholders meeting. Now, shareholders meeting, they have prescribed who can be the chairman, how many people should be there, how the company should give instructions, when they should publish a notice in the newspaper. So all these aspects are discussed in the provisions of the circular. So if at all anybody is interested, I would like to share the details of the notification. So there is first notification which is of 8th of April 2020. This is a circular. Ministry of Corporate Affairs has issued a circular, and they have permitted, first they permitted extraordinary general meeting to be conducted through video conferencing. Then there was a clarification issued, and on 5th of May 2020, Ministry issued a final clarification and said that even the annual general meetings can be conducted. There could be certain questions or there could be certain disputes, but I feel that is a better way in which the meetings can be conducted. Shareholders can propose a resolution, company can take it forward. So all the provisions remain the same. Now I will just touch upon one very important aspect. Just take an example. In the present faculty development program, which is being conducted by the organizers and the institutes, and all the faculties are sitting at the residence, nobody is coming at the college, even me as a faculty is presenting, and all the participants, researchers and all are at their residence. So the question in this particular situation is that what is the venue of the meeting, because we are all electronically connected, there is no particular venue to the meeting, and this is one of the biggest challenges which companies are having on this particular point. So therefore, this issue is not yet addressed by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, but it will be relevant for the companies because that will be the venue which will be mentioned in the notice of the meeting and quite a few other documents. Now, another issue is about how the documents of the company can be inspected, because whenever there is an annual general meeting, certain documents are to be inspected by the directors of the company or the shareholders of the company. They have got that particular opportunity to inspect the documents. Now in the present situation, since everybody is at home, it will be difficult for the company to provide the inspection. So that is another technological challenge which the companies have. Ministry on their side has already clarified that there is no option, you have to provide in electronic means of the documents and registers that you have to present, but there is no practical clarity on this particular provision. However, we need to appreciate the efforts of the ministry in bringing out these two important amendments in the COVID-19 situation. I will be discussing something more on this COVID-19, and I will be also discussing what will be the situation after COVID-19, how it will have an impact in the long run on the companies. So I'll just discuss in just 2 minutes.